If your food noise quiets down tomorrow, I mean really quiets down, what would you actually rely on? And I don't mean just what you would eat. I mean those moments that used to lead you there. That point in your day when you're finally done and you're sitting down and your body is just trying to unwind. Or when something didn't go your way and there's some tension and stress sitting right here on your chest. What would you turn to then? Welcome to episode 159, the part GLP-1s don't solve. If you're finding this Feel Light, Mind and Body podcast for the first time, hi, I'm Clarenda. I spent 21 years working as a registered nurse, and now I get to work as a life and weight loss coach. Most of the women I work with are successful, capable, and used to handling a lot of things. But when it comes to their own health, especially weight and energy, they just feel like they're constantly starting over, in spite having lots of information at their fingertips. So the work we do isn't just about handing you another plan. It's helping you understand what's actually driving those patterns so that you can make the changes needed that will hold up in your real life and not just on a good week. Last week in episode 158, we talked about food noise and GLP-1s, what they are, how they work, why people are drawn to them, and why for many the relief is real and so welcomed. That quieting of the food noise can feel like you can just breathe again and enjoy life. But I said I wanted to go deeper this week into what I think is such an important piece of information that's missing in the transformation. Whether you're new or a faithful listener, I'm really glad that you're here and taking this time and opening yourself up to a different perspective instead of just focusing on the body, including the mind. As you may or may not know, we can't really separate them. They're together, part and parcel. I was reading through the World Health Organization article in December of 2025, and they were talking about pairing the GLP-1s with lifestyle changes like diet and physical activity. Yes, that is so important. And we're still missing something because knowing what to eat usually isn't the issue. It's our default patterns and habits, that well-worn neural pathway that gets in the way of having this as a sustainable result, the result we worked hard for. It's knowing how to handle how you feel and think when it's 4:30 and you're standing in the middle of the kitchen, not even sure what you want. You just know that you don't want to feel the way you're feeling, whether that's burnout or simply a restlessness. It's when you've had an upsetting conversation and you're replaying it and you just know that food would take the edge off. It's when you've been productive all day and you want that well-earned reward, just something that will help you unplug and relax. Those are the kind of situations where that pattern just shows up and you know it. Food has been an easy go-to in those moments. So if that urge for food isn't there, whether it's from GLP-1s, or maybe you've been just white-knuckling it, pushing through with willpower, or using something that suppresses your appetite, what then? What replaces it? Because that pattern doesn't just disappear because of a medication or a supplement. That's the part I don't want you to miss. I've had women say to me, yeah, I've lost weight and I feel great about that, but I'm not feeling the way I thought I would feel. Or I don't think about food the same way anymore, but I don't really know what to do with myself. I feel so restless at night. And when they say this, I get it. It makes sense because what that's showing you is things have changed on the outside, but you're still having some of the same experiences on the inside. It's just showing up a little differently now. And this is where identity comes in. And it's probably not the way that you've heard it before. It's the part that tends to surprise people the most when we work through this together. Because it's not just about what you're doing. It's what feels normal to you and how you see yourself. So when it's Friday after work, you're tired and you're done thinking, your brain is going to go to what it knows. Not what you planned, not what you said you were going to do. It's going to revert to what's familiar. Simply because it takes less energy. Your brain isn't failing you at that moment. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. Conserve energy, keep you safe, and go what it already knows to do. And that familiar way of responding lines up with how you see yourself. So if part of you still sees yourself as someone who ends the day with a bag of chips or a bowl of ice cream, or I just need a glass of wine to unwind, that's the direction your brain will keep nudging you toward. And that's why you can know exactly what to do and still find yourself doing something else. It's not a lack of discipline. It's what feels normal in those moments hasn't shifted yet. Think about the people who win the lottery. They suddenly have access to more money than they've ever had, and then a couple of years go by and it's gone. And when you hear that, it's easy to think, how does that even happen? It's not that the money wasn't there. It's that it didn't change how they were used to thinking and making decisions. So they handled the money the same way they always had, and over time, it caught up with them. And it's the same idea here. The result can change, but if how you think and decide in those moments hasn't shifted, it's really hard to hold on to it. Let's use weight loss as an example. The numbers are going down. People are starting to notice. You're liking how you're feeling in your clothes. But if how you see yourself hasn't shifted, what happens? If part of you still sees yourself as someone who really struggles with food, has a really hard time to stay on track, or eventually goes back to old habits, then you'll find yourself starting to slip back in those old patterns. You'll go back to doing the same things you used to do. Not all the time, but more often than you like. And that's usually the part that people don't really know what to do with, because you can see it happening and you don't want to keep doing it, but at the moment, it just feels like the easiest thing to do. And this is where the rewiring comes in, because we're not just trying to change what you do. We're changing your identity for what feels normal. We're creating your new normal for when you're stressed, tired, or just don't want to think anymore. Instead of automatically going to that old neural pathway that your habit brain is offering you, imagine having created that new neural pathway, the pathway that has your future self, the best part of yourself in mind. That, my friend, is part of the rewiring reward. Think about when you knew exactly what to do, but in the moment, you just couldn't seem to do it. You just didn't know how to stop. It really isn't because you don't know better, because you do. You've done the programs, you've done the courses, you've done your research. You may have even got the badge, but without the shift in your identity, especially when your brain is tired, it'll just go back to the old way. So something you can try this week, instead of just trying to shut it down or fight it, why not just try to slow it down? Just enough so you can see what's going on, even if it's just for a minute, just long enough so you can notice, what is it that you're really needing? Maybe you want time for yourself with no demands. Maybe you want something special that feels like it's just for you. Because when you become aware and you can see it more clearly, you're not stuck in the same automatic response. You have a bit more to say in what happens next. And that's part of the work that we do inside the Feel Light, Mind, and Body program. Not just managing food, but learning how to handle those moments without needing food to do it for you. For women not on a GLP-1, we also work on balancing your hunger hormones. Because when your blood sugars and insulin are balanced, everything just quiets down and feels more calmer naturally. When I work with a client, we look at their entire life, the reality, like your schedules, whether you're running kids or grandkids somewhere, whether you're single, whether you have a husband, your work, your preferences, both in activities as well as in your food, your sleep, your stressors, social life, beliefs, and desires. I think that's very important, so you're not trying to fit your plan into your life. We look at your life and create the plan that will support it. And we work with urges, not trying to eliminate them, but knowing and working with yourself when they show up, because they will. And of course, I have tools that will make it easier. When you can stay with yourself, even for that minute, that's when things start to shift. We also look at your nervous system, because if you're constantly in that wired and tired state, your body will look for relief. So we build in ways for you to intentionally come into homeostasis. That is balance. So you're not always reaching for something outside of you. Also, you learn how to eat food, even the exception eats, in a way so that you're not overeating or believing that this is going to put you into a spiral, because it's not meant to feel restrictive. There's a balance that's available for you. And once you feel it, that's when you start to feel lighter. That's when you have more ease and freedom. And over time, this just becomes who you are. Not someone who's trying to control food, someone who can enjoy their food, but also handle those moments when you're turning to food, the external solution, instead of knowing what to do within. So if you're on a GLP-1 right now, or you're thinking about it, I want you to see this as an opportunity to set yourself up for lasting success. Less food noise gives you space, and what you build into that space is what will last. Because life isn't without stress or emotions or hard days, but you can change how you move through them. Whether you're on a GLP-1 or not, this is the part you don't want to skip over. Because those stressors and triggers will always be there. How you navigate them, that's what's going to create the change. So let's come back to this week. Let's say you feel an urge. You start to notice that pull towards something, and you know it's not physical hunger. Pause and ask yourself, what do I need? Not what should I do or what's the right choice. Just simply, what do I need? One of the questions I often suggest to my clients is, what would feel nourishing or nurturing right now? And also, I wouldn't regret it later. It's a really empowering question because sometimes it is food, but other times it's nothing to do with food. It really is just, I need sleep. Maybe it's, I want to get outside, or I just need a big hug. And the more clearly you can see that, the less confusing this process becomes. If you've been going back and forth in indecision in some area of your life, whether that be your health, work, or a relationship, or maybe it's something you've just been putting off, the Out of the Miserable Maybe workshop that I'm hosting on April 25th will help you get out of that indecision and moving forward. There's a small in-person group here in Fredericton, as well as an online option. We bring you into the room with us. You can click on the link to find out more. Or you could do both. I also want to offer a 20-minute complimentary consult to anyone who is struggling with their health, who is debating on, should I do this? Should I do that? I'm tired of having this low energy. I want to sleep better. I'm stressed out in my relationships. Anything like that. I'm here to help. I'm happy to help you get clear on your next step, whether we work together or not. I'll also add that link to the show notes. And if this episode helped you see things a bit differently, there's probably someone else in your life that it could help as well. Feel free to share it with them. That would make my heart so happy to know that we are spreading hope for others so they can have a healthier and balanced future. As many of you may know, the weight loss journey can be a lonely place without support and community. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and it's an honor to share with you every week.